Welcome to Animal Posse, the podcast dedicated to the people and rescues making a difference in the lives of animals.
Welcome, everyone, to a very special milestone of Animal Posse podcast. I'm your host, Dixie Louviere, and we are closing out December 2025 with our 48th episode of the year, which means we have had 47 incredible stories of rescue, recovery, and resilience behind us. This year has been an emotional roller coaster. We have heard about the overcrowded shelters. We have spoken with tireless fosters and tracked the journeys of animals who were given a second chance against all odds. Today, we're pausing to look back. I've gathered clips from every single episode that we have aired in 2025 to create a year in review. This isn't just a recap, it is a tribute to the rescuers, the adopters, and most importantly, the animals who showed us what it means to be brave. Whether you've been with Animal Posse since episode 1 or you're just now joining us, let's take a moment to celebrate the lives that we've seen transform this year.
As a prior law enforcement officer, I've seen that firsthand, where we might take care of a problem that's in the home, family squabbling, what have you, and somebody might go to jail, and what happens to the animals? Listen, we don't do anything. They're left abandoned. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Dogs that are kicked out, in particular Louisiana, I'll speak about Louisiana since I live here, but the people who dump animals, well, something really happens to that animal dies for whatever reason when they were dumped. Well, that's actually a felony in Louisiana. I mean, you can go to the statutes of Louisiana. That's a felony to dump animals.
We are the largest dog parade, I would say, in the universe. And although there may be pretenders, we are the original. And I believe because of our location and our history and the different elements like Margaret Orr, the school bands, the brass bands, I'm so proud every year of the product that we're putting out on this parade. A lot of times our kings and queens come in and the families, for whatever reason, may have just really built this bond with their dog. By the time they get to parade day, after living through the preceding week and all of the events and the ball, and then these people screaming for their dog, it just can really completely change their life.
We are starting programs in 4 different prisons over and beyond the one that's been in existence for 13 years. And we also have, along with from the big house to your house, and that's what we call the inmate prison programs, and dogs that from that are primarily service dogs and emotional support animals that are needed and utilized by a lot of veterans and quite a few families where they may have a child who has a spectrum of autism, and for people who have physical challenges, whether they can't bend over, they may be confined to a wheelchair. And we train dogs that come from shelters to do specific tasks. And they do qualify under the American Disabilities Act, Section 2 and 3, as service dogs. So we've had a great success with that. As of the end of last year, we had placed over 770 dogs.
You're out on a parade route having fun, someone's riding a horse. It just doesn't really dawn on you that that person may not own that horse, or the crew itself own it, or someone in the crew own it and borrow it. Instead of going back to the broker, the stable works with us to help get all of these horses adopted into homes. And once they've entered the program, we have committed to them for life. It's a lot of horses who've had their lives changed.
We'd post in the local groups about the bunnies, and people would start seeing the bunnies running loose in neighborhoods. They thought it was, hey, it's a wild bunny. It can survive. It's a domesticated bunny, but it can live just like a wild bunny. And they can't. Well, when people realized that, a lot of people within these groups started catching the bunnies themselves and taking them to the shelter. So that helped us also. Now, it didn't help the shelters any because they maxed out. So it's hard to catch bunnies and bring them anywhere because everybody's just loaded with bunnies now. You catch 5 and adopt 1, and at that ratio, you never catch up.
Please spay and neuter your pets.
Yes, that's the fine thing. I mean, spay the mom. A mom cat here in Louisiana, if she goes into heat 2 or 3 times a year and has 5 or 6 kittens each time, that's a lot of
The
kittens.
number in 7 years is crazy, like 400,000 offspring. You know that old commercial, if you tell 2 people and they tell 2 people, well, you have 5 babies and those 5 babies have 5 babies, and you go through a few years.
And then those 25 babies have another 5. Yeah, it
It's
keeps going.
crazy.
It's exponential.
Uh-huh.
It's unbelievable. So spay neuter is the definite answer.
And the boys too.
Yeah, well, a male cat can usually travels a radius of 2 miles, and he can visit several ladies in every spot. So he can he can provide a lot of kittens out there.
They get busy.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, they're more responsible for the kittens than what the mom cats are.
Uh-huh. Yeah, right. So
No.
any cat you come in contact with, don't feed it without fixing it.
White bunnies are actually the least adopted bunnies because their eyes are red, reddish blue, really. And people don't like that for some reason, which I get, but I actually find them the sweetest. Come and meet the bunnies. Don't just go off looks. Come and meet the personality. They all have different personalities. Adopt, don't shop, and spay and neuter your pets. That's like the biggest thing. We just don't need anymore. It just feels many of the animals we get off of the street are always in heat or pregnant.
Spay neuter is the foundation of cleaning up population. That's where you have to start everything. So we had a vet come in and she was like, this is what you need, and literally listed out all the items we would need to have a spay neuter clinic start. So last year in 2024, we spayed and neutered 961 felines and canines, which is huge for a shelter our size. That's just an outstanding number. And it started in 2020. We actually have seen, which is incredible, a lower number of cat calls. So we have seen a lessening of people needing to get cats in. Such a cool data point to have, because I remember 2 years ago where every other call was a cat call. It was like cat, dog, cat, dog. And now maybe we're getting 1, 2 cat calls a week, and that's it.
I always say better to turn off the faucet than mop the floor. You want to help cats, the best thing you can do is get them fixed. Our focus is getting all these cats fixed. We are not going to adopt our way out of this because there's just so many. And it costs a whole lot more to round up impound animals than it does to just get them fixed. For every cat we fix, we're saving thousands rather than taking one kitten and using up a huge ton of resources to get that cat a home. We're preventing all this suffering. Our goal is to try to keep educating people and just keep stressing spay, neuter, TNR, be a responsible pet owner. Just get your animals fixed. Trap your neighborhood. Just get involved. Go volunteer for your local shelter.
The system is broken and the answer is in prevention. The more shelters we build, the more rescues that are created, the more dogs and cats will come. What we need to do is address it at the prevention levels. Every animal deserves health and quality of life. Income should not determine a pet's health or a human's health for that matter. And we need to provide access to care. And that's why so many national animal welfare organizations are detouring from sheltering into prevention. We see people every day who love and adore their pets, and they are so grateful to be able to give their pets what they deserve because of us.
I love that we have the breeder's permit law in Jefferson Parish, but only one permit's ever been sold.
Really?
One.
I did not know that.
One.
Wow.
One.
Wow.
That is it. So if you know anyone in Jefferson Parish that is breeding animals, I can tell you 99.9% chance they are not doing it legally. German Shepherds and Siberian Huskies. Those two are now becoming so common in the shelter. They're becoming like the pit bulls of the shelter. There's so many of them that are at risk of being euthanized. And you're creating 5 and 6 more because it's cute. I go to bed every night dreaming of a shortage of animals. I just think that would be the coolest thing ever. There are dogs that look exactly like your dog in the shelter homeless right now. And they're like, no, I was like, oh yeah. And they're like, there's no way. I'm like, yes, way. Everything that you want from an animal is probably in a shelter. It's just funny the things that you find. People like want the purebred everything. I don't know, but some of the best street things we find are like the sweetest babies ever. It's just that one home that like changes a life. It doesn't happen as often as we want it to. But we have so many special adult cats that like we are obsessed with and the ones that we are so in love with. It's just don't get an animal. If you're not in it for life, don't get one. Bottom line.
We went to look at the rats, and my son picked out a little black and white female, and there was a little cream colored and white female. She was so intelligent, so clean, so smart, so loving, so empathetic that I just fell in love with her. She went to the bank with me. She went to the feed store with me. She went to Walmart. She went to watch my son graduate from the Army. She went and laser tagged, the movie, everywhere. I'm telling you, she literally went everywhere with me because she was so intelligent. I would tell her, Delilah, it's time to go. And it got to where people fell in love with her. And I'd be in Walmart and the cashiers would be, is she there? Is Delilah there? And I'd say, Delilah, and she'd peek her head out just enough that they could see her, but no one else could. And they just loved her.
FIV is almost like a person that has HIV. It's not a death sentence. It just means we need to watch them for passing on the disease or also having problems with their immune system and catching other things.
You hear some people will say an FIV cat cannot live with another cat, but then you have other people that are like, no, as long as you have cats that don't fight and they're not biting each other,
Right.
then they're fine together. So what are your thoughts on that?
I tend to agree. As long as you know what kind of risk you're assuming and you understand how the disease is transmitted, I'm of the thought that if the cat's going to lose its home or this cat would be otherwise put to sleep or put in a shelter, it would be better off given a chance to get along with another cat in an inside environment, to be given a chance at a good home versus ending up at a shelter or ending up being put down, as long as they get along. There are vets that would disagree with me on that, but especially here we have so many unwanted animals and so many animals that die in the shelters in Louisiana that I feel like anything we can do to stop that, at least to try, is good.
I literally took maybe an hour out of my day and I truly made a difference. I can see that I made a difference. Like, these cats will never get pregnant again. They will never impregnate anyone. I just put a dent. Even in this house, this block community, I myself have put a dent in it. So once I saw that, I was like, this is so cool. I love this. It's so easy. And like, you know, being an animal lover does not save lives. Unfortunately, just being an animal lover does nothing. How many people do we all know? Like, I'm an animal lover. It's like, but what do you do? Like, what are you doing for that? I actually am making a difference. I am. If someone comes up to you and says, like, that cat has no home, it should be put to sleep, you now have the knowledge to say, no, look, he's got an ear tip. He's a community cat. Like, he is being cared for. He's fine. All of these trappers, we do it from the kindness of our heart. We get zero back. We spend our time, effort, money, and energy on this because we love it, and we don't get anything back. And we don't need anything back either.
Animals are family. And if that's not what they're going to be, then get a stuffed animal. Go visit somebody with a pet. It's not that hard. If you can't commit, but you love animals, hey, be a foster. We give you everything you need, and all you got to do is love them. And yeah, it's a little sacrifice of time. You don't have to pay for the vet. You don't have to go get the cage and all that and litter box. If you're close enough to where I can meet you, I'll bring you shredded paper for the litter. I'll bring you hay and pellets if, you know, that's what you need. And then whenever you need to go on your summer vacation, hey, let us know a couple weeks in advance so we can come and get the baby and find somebody else. But during that time, at least the bunny has been paid attention to. It's been seen by people who maybe normally wouldn't see being here at the rescue. And the people who took care of it have learned if that's something that they want in the future. It seems to be a win-win for everybody. People need to take advantage. We need some fosters. So help, volunteer, donate, adopt, foster. Everybody can do something. It's just so important. There's so many animals out there. Educate yourself, educate others, and just be compassionate.
And I think people need to really stop giving, oh, it's all day long. Free kittens, free puppy, free, just that's inviting a torturing sicko or a dog fighter. You just can't do it. And if you do it, you've got to actually be proactive and check vet references and go to the home and ask for photos in the future because it's just, it feeds the dog fighting industry. People don't realize how rampant animal abuse is. And it's like when I got involved with one group, then I would see more and more on social media. And then that would open me up to another group that I joined. And then that would open me up to see it's horrific. And I feel people have been, society as a whole has been so sheltered from it because it doesn't often get a lot of press. It's really just opened my eyes to the irresponsibility of people these days and the lack of accountability. The surrenders and the rehoming have been so normalized. And it's really pathetic. And really, people, if they see something, say something. And a lot of people have this attitude of they're not going to do anything about it. And that angers me because they definitely won't if we don't speak up.
Flyering is still probably the number one way to get pets home because even with a canine tracker, you still need sightings. Having an effective flyer is also super important. Lost dog or lost cat, big picture, do not chase, big phone number. That's it. Your dog, Fluffy, goes missing and you see your dog, Fluffy, running down the road. What are you going to do? You're out. There goes my dog. I'm going to go chase my dog and call my dog because at home, Fluffy comes barreling into your lap when you're running around or when you're calling him. But once a pet's been out for a little while, they go into what they call flight mode, meaning they no longer associate you with sight or sound. It's all about scent. Everything to them is predatory, right? So what works at home is no longer a thing because they need to be able to get close enough to mom or dad or whomever to be able to smell them for that switch to flip back and realize, wait a minute, that's mom. Big corporation rescues, it's all about how much money can we get in and look at our numbers. And that's not always the big thing. It needs to be about the animal and not about the recognition. It takes a team. That's always been our slogan, is it takes a team. There's never one person. It's always multiple people that make everything work for the better of the animals. And there's rescues I didn't care for some of the people that volunteer with them or work with them, but it's not about my feelings towards those people. It's about my feelings towards them wanting to help the animals that are in need that I had in my care. And I might not like their personality, we might clash, but they're still doing good for animals and helping. And as long as that's going on, I could put any differences aside and work with somebody for the greater good of abused, neglected animals because there's such a high population of them.
Right.
And when you don't and you collide and you fight, that's when it becomes about not the animal. And that's a lot of problem with a lot of rescues.
I want to talk about pregnant spays. I think it's like a thing that a lot of people don't know about. There are some people that have some controversial feelings about it and they feel like it's abortion. And that's their right to believe that. But until you're like in our position where you're being outnumbered and there just simply aren't enough homes, if we aren't doing pregnant spays, which is where a veterinarian spays the animal, and then they also usually give like a little bit of euthanol to each fetus to make sure that they humanely pass away. It sucks, but
one, you're making too many animals, but two, like you're essentially breeding, in my opinion. You're taking away homes for 5 other dogs or 5 other cats that are already born and waiting. So you're just making the problem worse than it already is. So there's no fetal suffering during pregnant spays. So as long as while it's a fetus and while it's in utero, there's no pain, no suffering, they're unconscious the entire time. So nothing is going to happen. Nothing is going to hurt that fetus if they're euthanizing it before birth. So there's no pain to that fetus, according to this veterinary thing from UC Davis. That was the other thing that the UC Davis thing mentioned. It was talking about why you should really be pro pregnant spay is because there really is not enough for shelters, for municipal shelters, to do neonatal care. It's not fair. Like, you're making it worse. There's just not enough care to provide. There's just not enough staff. Stop contributing to the overpopulation. Because if you as a rescue are not supporting pregnant spays, you're a breeder.
Rescue ultimately is about second chances, and not always just for the animals. Adopting and fostering and volunteering, I think, can be transformative for the people as well. Doing something that matters, caring for those who can't care for themselves, is really special and important, and I think it changes something within us, making the world a better place.
If you ever see people posting pictures of bottle kittens on social media, you don't want to jump in and take them right away. You want to tell them they need to wait for the mom to come back. Because most of the time the mom's just moving them around, and you give that mom time to come back and pick them up. I say to wait about 8 to 10 hours. If it is going to be a newborn, especially like with the cord attached, then you definitely don't want to wait longer than, I'm going to say, 6 hours probably max. Now, if it's in a bad spot, like busy highway, middle of a sidewalk, that's a little bit different story. Bad rain. I know the last ones that were picked up, they were in a puddle. So they picked them up because if they didn't, they would have most likely drowned. If you're doing bottle babies, just remember, sometimes the moms abandon them for a reason. If you take them, you're giving them a chance. You're giving them love. So that is something that they would not have had the opportunity to get if you did not step up and help them. So don't beat yourself up over it. Don't say, I did something wrong, because you didn't do anything wrong. If anything, you stepped up to help them.
Airway breathing, and it's in circulation. The first things I always think about are during an emergency. If I can't think of anything else and my nerves have the best of me, I always think ABC when I see a patient in front of me. And this is the case with humans as well. If you come across a person that's in distress, ABC, airway, breathing, and circulation. Those are the first 3 things that you need to worry about. Are they breathing? Can they breathe? Do they have an airway? Is something stuck in their throat? Are they making noise? If they're making noise, then chances are they're probably not aspirating on anything.
I had a dog named Petey, and I got him from the Baton Rouge Animal Shelter, and he was 8 weeks old. Petey just found a home. He's been with me almost 5 years. I will just hold on to them as long as need be. That's what you do. When you volunteer to foster, at least that's what I do. When I volunteer to foster, it is all the way through the end. Even if I've got that dog for 5 years, or these kittens for 5 years on my house, it's just, I'm committed. And that's the most important thing, is that I signed up to make sure that these guys got adopted, and that's how it's going to be, whether it takes a couple weeks or 5 years. Just doing rescue, you deal with the emotions. I get upset, I cry, I try not to regret. Sometimes it's sad, sometimes it's happy, and you want to take all the happy. Like, I will high five myself when I do adoptions. I'm like, all right, good job. And people ask me, how do you move on so quickly? I'm like, I never intended to keep that dog. I intended to take that dog into my house. I intended to give it rules and boundaries and structure and find it a home. That person who adopts that dog gets all that information too. I've brought this dog home. I've given it structure with the kennel. I'm telling you, these are the rules at my house to help transition the dog to your house. I suggest this is what you do. You can never go too slow. You can go too fast when you're integrating a new dog or a new animal into your house. You can never go too slow. So we always tell people that. We understand you want to bring your new dog home and you want to snuggle. But the new dog, it takes at least 2 to 8 weeks to settle into a new home and a new routine.
I have always had empathy for dogs in shelters, and I know deep down that some of these animals are there and don't belong there, that there's homes they belong in. We have a list of 5 things people should do when their pet goes missing. So, first thing, if the dog's missing from home, we say immediately put out food, water in your dog's bed or an article of your clothing, even a used pillowcase at the location where your dog was last seen. When a dog's been missing for a while, they go into flight mode, fight or flight mode, and they won't even sometimes recognize an owner right away because they've been out for a while and they're just trying to stay safe and get food.
No more cages. Let's stop treating them like they're prisoners. It's not necessary. It's lazy. And it is a normalcy for us to do that. And it shouldn't be. They're animals. They're not criminals. Stop being scared. They're dogs. They listen. They're natural pack animals. They are not trying to kill each other all the time. They'll argue with each other, but you can correct them like you're on a playground with children. You have to go in like a boss. If you want to integrate animals together, you have to go in like the boss saying, this is what we're going to do. No questions asked. This is how it's done. And they'll follow you.
With Rescue Lines, we have the Louisiana Pet Food Bank. We do disaster animal response. And we've got a Cats for Vets program, which helps veterans find a companion to help them through a lot of the ones that we placed and everything. We've got veterans who are suffering from PTSD, and that companion animal it makes their life a lot more amazing. You know, the reason why we named it Rescue Alliance, because as a rescue, if we can come together and work together, we can save more cats. And for those that do dogs, they can save more dogs just by working together than fighting one against each other, because that energy can be saved towards getting animals homes. So it's all about partnership for the pets. Is the more that we can come together, the more help we can provide.
One of the things we see all the time is people assuming that they're going to be able to call their dog and their dog's going to come right back to them. I think people are really surprised how quickly a pet can go into survival mode and they may not come running back. So there's a little bit of an education that we try to do on how to treat that lost pet and what to expect. We also want to get people out and searching. We don't want them to enter a report in our database and then sit back and wait. It's really important to get the word out, to post in multiple places and get out and search, especially if you have a lost cat. Searching is one of the best ways because they could be trapped somewhere. So you want to get out, search your yard, ask permission to search your neighbor's yard, search in garages and sheds. Just really pound the pavement again to try to find that pet. Don't give up hope. Don't panic. There are people who are able to help you. Get the word out. Stay calm. Most pets are reunited.
We would talk with adopters a lot about the 3-3-3 rule. And it's a guideline. It's not a rule, but it's 3 days for a dog to decompress. And the reason it's 3 days, the science behind that is in the first 72 hours of a dog going through a change, their cortisol levels are really high. And so that can affect and will affect their behavior. And sometimes you can see it almost like to the hour, where 72 hours after you take them home, you'll see a shift. And you'll go, what was that about? It can make a dog either really timid and really quiet, or it can make them really amped up. It can change a lot of things. So giving those animals a few days to adjust will give you a better sense of what their personality is looking like. So that's the 3 days. The 3 weeks is it takes them 3 weeks to learn your routine. So if you can keep a similar routine through those 3 weeks, it's going to help them adjust quicker. And then it's 3 months for them to feel at home.
We started with 2 cats at the mall. We're now over 50. Feeding all these cats at the mall, what are some of the challenges, aside from people dumping animals, that you face? The cost.
It comes out of our own pockets.
So you're not a 501c3?
No. Everything that we feed them comes out of our paychecks. They have to go to the vet, comes out of our paychecks. And we are very big on if there is a cat hurt or a cat sick, they're going to the vet. But all of that comes out of our own pocket.
And how much food do you go through?
About 5 30-pound bags a week and about 120 cans of cat food. Wet food.
We live in a generation where nobody is accountable for anything. Everything is everybody else's problem, and people are lazy. Nobody wants to put the time, the effort, the money, or anything when they can dump the dog off somewhere else. And that's the culture we live in. I say all the time, the only way we're getting out of this animal welfare crisis, like, everybody's got to band together now. The population has to start helping themselves. I explain it to them and I say, hey, listen, you are trying to rehome your animal in the absolute worst time. Let me tell you about the animal welfare crisis, and I educate them. I have a very specific type of adopter that we adopt to, and I'll get certain people and they're like, well, this is why people go to breeders. And I'm like, okay, so go to a breeder. Like, I actually don't know what to tell you. That's fine, but you cannot have one of my dogs. I'm sorry, but I'm really not sorry.
I do a lot of bottle feeding. When you put that much time and effort into getting them well, because bottle feeding, they're very delicate. And then sometimes you have to deal with things like illnesses that'll pop up. And you essentially have to go nurse them back to health. So I feel like if I'm going to have to be up in the middle of the night every 2 hours to feed a sick kitten, I want that kitten to go to a home with somebody who's going to do the same. So I'm picky. I'm picky too, because it's like that's all of my love and dedication and everything goes into taking care of these animals. And so I want to make sure that they're going into a home that's going to provide the exact same for them.
As you should.
For years, sheltering has completely ignored the people in their community that speak other languages. And then at the same time, villainize them for not taking advantage of the programs or not following the rules, when in reality, we've never made any attempt in a lot of cases to even try to engage them or try to show them the resources and programs and everything that are available. We have 50 handouts that are translated into Spanish. We believe when you help animals, you help people too. Doggy Day Out is where you can go to an animal shelter for a day and basically take an adoptable pet out for a foster field trip. You can go for a walk in the park. So the more you can get animals outside of the shelter and see how they behave in normal situations, the better you can match make adoptions, the better understanding you have of their temperament.
Animal rescuers argue all the time. It's not a competition. We all have to come to some sort of middle level because animal cruelty laws in this country, in the United States, are not consistent and in most cases are not enforced. I can tell you most politicians think animal rescuers are nuts because we're always arguing and we're always fighting and we're always bad-mouthing each other, and you and I both know that's true. So we need to try to take a step back and try to work together for like comprehensive animal welfare reform that's consistent. I think if we all worked together instead of competing for the high profile cases, that would be way better. If you don't have the right animal in your rescue for someone, it shouldn't be just, we don't have that right now. I'll keep you on a list in case we get something in that matches your needs. It takes 3 seconds and we all know who has what.
When I say how we treat animals, it really reflects who we are. I mean, our actions toward the most vulnerable, those who have no voice, there's no defense, no standing in society. It reveals the true state of our own hearts. But if we can ignore suffering in an animal, it says something about the limits of our own humanity. And it's unfortunate, even those with animals today who have animals, it doesn't mean that they come from a good home, because many people have this idea that if animals, they have a home. What kind of home is that? What kind of home are they being raised into? People don't look at animals as something that we should respect.
In our early years, we operated as a rescue. We pulled animals from shelters. We placed them into foster homes.
rehabilitated them medically if they needed that. And we found them loving forever homes. But no matter how many lives we saved, the kennels just filled up again at the local shelter the very next day. And so we realized that while rescue was essential, it was still reactive. And to create real lasting change, we had to shift upstream and address the root causes. And so today we operate as a proactive, community-centered nonprofit, really focused on prevention and affordable access to care and programs that we build hand in hand with the people we serve. Our mission has evolved a lot over the years, and we went from saving one dog, Angel, to building a sustainable solution that really keeps pets healthy and families together and makes our entire community stronger. Really, for us, it's helping pets means helping people too. That's really at the core of our mission.
Your equipment is in your hands and in your heart. When you think about going to the shelter, the majority of people go there because they're looking for a pet, looking for the most bubbly, the happiest, the friendliest kitten or dog. But there's that little dog in the corner, shaking, looking down. And he's like that because he's terrified of the situation. These environments affect their behavior, and sometimes their behavior causes them not to be good candidates for adoption. So Reiki comes in to relieve them of that stress and put them in a position to where they're more adoptable.
When you do your clinic, how long does it take to do 100 cats?
Around 6 hours, 5 to 6 hours. We usually start at about 8 o'clock in the morning. We're usually done around 1, 2 o'clock at the latest. Dogs take longer, but my surgeons love, love, love cat days because cats are way easier to spay than a dog.
Yeah, and I know a cat neuter is just a matter of minutes. It's like really
well,
fast.
Yeah, it's 30 seconds. And for surgeons who are high volume trained, like most of our high volume surgeons will do a spay like in 6 minutes.
How many spays and neuters with all of your pop-up clinics do you estimate that you have done in a year?
I'd say probably 30,000.
You're making a difference in the lives of people and also in the lives of those service dogs, because I imagine they're treated quite well.
They are pampered beyond belief. It is the craziest thing. My daughter is a research scientist, and she always talks about how when you talk to people about taking care of themselves, how they just blow it off, whether no matter what it is that they're dealing with. But if you tell them that your pet makes you in this amount of weight in this amount of time, you need to get this done, they will spend thousands of dollars to make sure that pet is okay. And that's just for what they call their fur babies. When you translate that into a really life-saving buddy for them, these dogs are pampered beyond belief.
I love adoption events, but you almost feel like you're on the clock with those. So I wanted to do something that's a little bit more recreational, but also with that rescue element. And so I was like, what if I could do this kind of recreational thing for adults and families, but it's also a place where people can come together and network and raise money and have fun and showcase adoptable dogs. So it's Lemon, which is what we call dogs and cats that have a lot of issues in the medical field, at least. So, oh, that dog's a Lemon. They're always coming into the vet for this, that, or the other. And then Aid is AID. So yeah, just combines this Lemon and Aid to be a little play on words so that people are like, okay, but what is that? The lemonade stand Nola was born.
Animals teach us just how to be, to live in the present moment, to trust, to love without words, and to forgive easily. And in their innocence, they remind us that spirituality isn't only found in church pews or sacred texts, but also in the living, breathing world. And their presence can open our hearts to gratitude, compassion, wonder, all spiritual practices in themselves, of course. And many people find that caring for or simply being near animals softens our spirits and even quiets our minds. Our animals become imprinted connected to us spiritually, because physically, when they were rejected and broken, we saved them. And by saving them, they know that we are there for them.
You might ask, how do you have a communication with an animal that doesn't speak human? Animal communication is communicating in a way that is non-physical, mostly, that is telepathic, we'll put it that way. Animals are much smarter than humans. They understand human, and they, in their very clever way, dumb down their answers so that the human understands what's going on by barking, meowing, doing some physical action, and they understand your intent, the larger scope of it. So it's really incredible what animals really do understand. So the biggest thing in communication with animals is really being able to hear them.
My first raccoon I kept for a year. And unless you are an absolutely special person, and I love raccoons, they're my favorite animal, but I try to tell people that sweet, adorable, lovable, cute, fun raccoon that cuddled with you up until about 6 months. And then they literally turn into Cujo on crack cocaine. They will destroy your home. They're going to attack your dog. They're going to go after your child when she goes close to their food. They're not destructive, they're inquisitive. And if one gets in your pantry, it will look like a bomb went off. They will open everything in there. They have to have enrichment. They're crazy. They make horrible pets. So we tell people, when you find that baby raccoon, please get it to a rehabber.
One of the hardest parts, we always say in rescue, it's not the animals and the cases, and we see horrible things, but we know that we're there helping them. It's people that makes this job so much harder, because the lack of compassion and the lack of empathy, then they try to flip it and put it on your conscience and say, if you're not going to help, it's just going to the pound. Which is so frustrating, because at that point it is on our conscience, right? Once you know about it, you can't not know about it. So it's so frustrating that this buck is passed on whenever it was their pet, it was their family member, and they are just so unwilling to do the bare minimum. And not everyone, again, I don't want to generalize. There are some really good folks out there, but by and large, the crisis is fueled by really irresponsible and uncaring folks.
Yeah.
I always had a hand in animal rescue, and always just wanted to basically give back, just because, you know what they say, be a voice for the voiceless. They can't tell us what they need, and they can't defend themselves. And yeah, the harsh reality is that there's a severe overpopulation crisis in the South. Just have some facts here, but approximately 2,700 to 10,000 are euthanized daily, and that's just in North America. Approximately 5.8 million entered shelters and rescues just in the year of 2024. And then out of that, approximately 607,000 were euthanized. So they never made it out. It's a living, breathing creature, and it's serious at the end of the day. They're the only things that love us more than we love themselves. So that's really what drives me. I always say, if rescue work paid the bills, I would be doing it full time.
It's beyond cats. The cats brought us there, but it really is a community. There's people there. I don't know their last names, but I'm as close to them as I am some of my own family members. I see them every day. We ask them about their health, about their pets. It is a really loving community, and it's a beautiful thing. And I encourage anyone who wants to spend time and doing something in their community, but it's something they're going to enjoy. It's fitness, it's fresh air, it's friends, it's new faces. We have a great time, and anyone wants to just try it out and come hang with us. And we're a fun group. I tell you, if you rescue an animal who's had a lot of hardship, they are so grateful. The relationship, the rewards of that relationship are just so beautiful. I encourage everyone to go out and find somebody and share your life with them.
Listening back to those moments from the past 47 episodes, it really puts things into perspective. Behind every clip we heard today is a life that matters and a community that stepped up to help. To our listeners, thank you. Whether you donated, shared a post to help an animal find a home, or simply tuned in to learn how to better be an advocate, you are part of this mission. You are part of the Animal Posse. As we head into 2026, the work doesn't stop. There are always more crates to open, more forever homes to find. We'll be back in the new year with more stories from the front lines of rescue. Until then, remember, adopt, don't shop, foster, rescue, spay and neuter, and most importantly, go thank a rescuer today. I'm Dixie, and this has been Animal Posse, and we will see you in 2026. Consider becoming a member. We just added this to our website, animalposse.com. Scroll down, look for the support tab. Our membership program is going to help us directly support animals in need, whether that be through vaccinations, food, or spay neuter efforts.